I can still remember that day as if it's carved into the deepest parts of my memory, a scar that no time can heal. The sky was unervingly beautiful, painted in a flawless shade of blue, as if nothing bad could possibly happen under it. I had bought Liam's favorite coffee, 2 cups, with a little note attached to one. Every second with you is worth a lifetime. I feel foolish now, even thinking about it. I turned the key slowly, silently. I wanted to surprise him. I tiptoed inside, my heart light with excitement. But the house, it was filled with an eerie silence. The familiar warmth of home suddenly felt foreign. Usually there'd be music playing, or I'd hear Liam's voice on the phone. But now, there was nothing, just the erratic rhythm of my heartbeat echoing in my ears. I walked softly, passing through the living room towards the bedroom. The door was slightly ajar. A faint light seeped through the crack as if whispering, "Don't look." But I did. And in that moment, all the colors in my life faded. Liam, the man who said he loved me, that man was holding my mother, Vanessa, in his arms. At first, my brain refused to process it. My eyes saw, but my heart denied it. Maybe I misunderstood, I thought. Maybe it's not what it looks like. But no, the truth hit me like a punch to the gut. Liam's lips were on my mother's neck, his hands gripping her waist tightly. I knew that fake, sly smile spread across my mother's face all too well. Her fingers tangled in his hair, her head thrown back, breathing heavily with desire. The room smelled of sweat, lust, and betrayal. Their voices still echo in my ears. Liam's husky whisper, "I've wanted this more than I ever admitted." Vanessa's mocking laugh, "How did you hold back for so long? You've been craving me, haven't you?" My heart paused for a brief second. My legs trembled, but I didn't move. I burned that scene into my mind. Every detail. I saw the scratch marks on Liam's back, marks left by the very hands that used to brush my hair when I was a child. Hands that once held me gently, now clawing at my fiancé. The coffee cup in my hand trembled. A single drop spilled onto the floor. That warm drop felt colder than ice. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stood there watching. In that moment, something inside me died, but something else was born. A dark rage. I quietly stepped back, closed the door as if nothing had happened. My steps were heavy, but my mind was clear with one thought. It's not enough for them to hurt. I need to destroy them. I never confronted Liam that day, because why no longer mattered. From that moment on, I breathed for one reason: revenge. And the first name that came to mind? Marcus. The man my mother betrayed. He knew what betrayal felt like. But now it was my turn. This time, I'd write the rules of the game. Before that day, my life seemed perfect. Or so I thought. Liam and I had been together for 4 years. From the day we met, it felt like a fairy tale. He was my safe harbor, the love of my life, my soulmate. We were counting down the days to our wedding, dreaming of a happily ever after. And my mother? She was always distant. Beautiful, poised, but cold beneath her charming facade. I'd spent my whole life trying to earn her approval. When I introduced Liam to her, she gave him that signature fake smile. I didn't realize what was lurking behind that smile. I didn't know that betrayal was already growing in the shadows. My mother had never truly felt the sting of betrayal. Not yet, but she was about to. Marcus, my mother's husband, my stepfather, a quiet, powerful, enigmatic man, older than Liam, but with a darkness in his eyes that once intimidated me. Not anymore. Now, that darkness lit a spark inside me. One evening, knowing my mother was out, I went to Marcus's house. He opened the door, surprise flickering across his face, but only for a moment. Then, his eyes changed. Curious. Intense. "I just wanted to talk," I said. But we both knew it was a lie. We sat down. Silence filled the space between us, heavy and electric. Small talk felt like a thin veil over something much deeper. The tension was undeniable, like an invisible thread pulled taut, waiting to snap. I looked into his eyes, didn't look away, and I knew he understood everything without a word. He saw the betrayal, the rage, and the dark, broken pieces inside me. Slowly, I stood up, took a step toward him. He stood, too, silent, watching. I was trembling inside, but my hands were steady. My heart raced, not with fear, but with power. The kind of power that comes from knowing you hold the match that can burn everything down. I reached up. No words, just pressed my lips to his. Time stopped. A single breathless pause. Then, he didn't pull away. His hands gripped my waist, pulling me closer. That kiss wasn't love. It wasn't tenderness. It was revenge. Raw, burning, unapologetic. Our breaths grew heavier, faster as the fire between us ignited. His touch wasn't gentle, it was possessive, desperate. And I welcomed it. Because for the first time since that day, I wasn't the broken one. That night, as Marcus's hands roamed my body, I wasn't with a man. I was with every shattered part of myself. And when morning came, I didn't feel guilt. I felt victory. A week later, I invited my mother over. She arrived in her expensive clothes, jewelry sparkling, carrying herself with the same smug arrogance she'd always worn like a crown. But that crown was about to fall. We sat across from each other. Silence filled the space between us like a ticking bomb. I didn't waste time. I know, I said, staring straight into her eyes. I know everything about you and Liam. Her smile faltered. For the first time, I saw cracks in her perfect facade. But I wasn't done. Not even close. I leaned back, crossing my arms, savoring the moment. And you know what? I whispered. Last night, I was with Marcus. Her face drained of color. Her lips parted, but no words came out. The woman who always had something clever to say, speechless. I let the silence do the talking, watched her squirm, and then I delivered the final blow. Marcus is leaving you. For me. Panic flickered in her eyes. Because Marcus wasn't just her husband. Marcus was her golden ticket. Her luxury, her power, her security. That's ridiculous, she finally whispered. Marcus would never leave me. I smiled, a slow, wicked smile. Oh, but he will. Because now he wants me. That night I met Marcus again. This time it was different. There was no hesitation in my voice. I want you to leave her, I said. She deserves nothing. Marcus didn't hesitate. She was already nothing to me, he replied calmly. You just showed me what I really want. And just like that, my victory was sealed. It wasn't about love. It was about control. And I had it. When Marcus served her the divorce papers, my mother's world crumbled. And Liam? He panicked when he realized she was no longer rich, no longer powerful. Their passionate affair faded as quickly as it had begun. Because love built on lies and money can't survive. And they both rotted in their misery. As for me, I sipped my coffee in Marcus's mansion. The taste richer than any luxury my mother ever had. Sometimes I look at old photos. Her smug face, Liam's fake smile. And I feel nothing. Because I won. I didn't just survive. I conquered. And when I close my eyes, there's only one thought that echoes in my mind. Revenge isn't just about making them suffer. Sometimes it's the only thing that keeps you alive. And I am alive. Stronger. Fiercer. And the victory is